Advisor Terry, I'd like you to tell me about what's going on in Ireland.
Well, sir, they are in a lot of trouble economically and socially.
Why? Is it because of those managers in Anglo-Irish Bank?
Well, a lot of people in Ireland believe that, but it's not that simple.
So what caused it then?
Well, inordinate debt basically.
How did the debt accumulate?
It's a long story, but in 1992 the members of the European Union signed the Maastricht Treaty. This paved the way for the euro single currency to be introduced in 1999.
Could you explain further?
Also in 1999 over here in the States we reversed the Glass-Steagall Act. This had been set up after the Great Depression to keep the banks regulated and to stop reckless lending.
Just stick to the euro for the moment. How is it connected to debt?
The euro arrived in 2002. This meant that all countries in the eurozone could borrow at the same interest rate of 2–3%. Irish banks had to pay 4% less interest. This meant they could borrow huge sums of money from German and French banks.
Why would a bank borrow?
So that it could lend it on at a higher interest rate and make a profit.
But why did everyone need money?
Most of them didn't. They borrowed money because they could. This was one of Ireland's biggest social problems, greed.
That sounds really dangerous.
Not nearly as dangerous as what Irish banks were doing. They gave out mortgages to people who they knew would never be able to pay them back. These were called subprime mortgages.
I've heard of those demons.
They started giving out 100% mortgages to first-time buyers when the market began to fall. They gave them the whole price of the house instead of 90% before.
Go on.
Soon banks allowed you borrow 10 times your salary at the height of the Celtic Tiger. Previously you could only borrow 2 to 3 times your salary.
Why?
Greed and a lust for wealth basically. The government didn't want the party to stop.
That's because the more houses and cars that were sold, the more money the government got in taxes, right?
Yes, but then the whole thing collapsed. The banks in Europe saw what was happening in Ireland in mid-2008 and started lending Irish banks money for shorter periods of time.
And then I presume on September 29, 2008 the Irish banks began to collapse because they could not pay back the loans to European banks. The government guaranteed the bank's debt.
Yes, sir. The Irish government found themselves having to repay over 100 billion in bank debt. The property bubble had burst and the recession began.
They better sort it out and fix their economy and society, or else they will not survive. They must also encourage community values. Ireland is essential to the world economically.